Okay, so welcome you all to my this online class, and we are going to study the cell cycle regulation. Continues from our previous class. Yesterday, actually, we have discussed there is two factors which are required for regulation. One is called cyclin protein, second is called CDK protein. So these cyclin and CDK protein are forming a complex, but this complex can be inhibited by certain protein classes, which are known as CDK or the CDK or the cyclin dependent kinase inhibitors. So these protein can come in between and inhibit the functioning of CDK and cyclin protein. Will inhibit the complex formation actually. So now some factors are required for the proper regulation of the CDK or the cell cycle kinases or simply the cyclin dependent kinases. First, they should be because these are catalytic subunits, these are regulatory subunits. So first of all, this regulatory subunit is required, and we can see that in each round of cell cycle, these cyclin proteins are de novo synthesized, but the CDK protein will remain in the cytoplasm. So first thing, to form a active complex, the association of cyclin is must. So the CDK must interact with the its partner cyclin. Second thing is there should be no inhibitor, so that which can interfere the formation of proper complex. And the most important is there is two positions within CDK itself for this particular kinase. You all know that kinases are a class of proteins. So these are enzymes which are required for phosphorylation events. And the opposite function is done by phosphatases. We will see some of the phosphatases, which are major phosphatases in cell cycle regulation are CDC25 family members, respectively A and C. Okay, so there is two positions in CDK itself. One is around 160 position in the sequence of amino acid. So actually this, if we talk in terms of MPF, maturation promotion factor, promoting factor, so threonine at 161 position, if this is phosphorylated, this kind of phosphorylation is activating phosphorylation. There is two another positions nearby, one is 14, one is 15 in amino acid sequence of protein of this particular kinase. So if these are phosphorylated, these are called inhibitory phosphorylations at threonine 14 and tyrosine 15. Okay, now from our last class, I do not know how many of you are able to understand this particular regulation concept or not, but actually it was very simple, and we will move to Cooper first. So actually we have discussed this type of regulation yesterday. We know there are certain checkpoints in cell cycle, and the cell need to overcome these breaks. Okay, need to overcome certain breaks to move from one phase of cell cycle into the another. So for example, cell move from G1 to S to G2 to M phase of cell cycle, and when this maturation promotion factor or maturation promoting factor MPF is formed, this is required to transfer cell from G2 phase of cell cycle into the M phase, because the M phase is just after the G2. If you are not able to get this cell cycle here, okay, so what I can do is here. Here we are having a cell cycle. Okay, so this is G2 phase, and G2 phase is followed by an M phase of cell cycle. So this particular checkpoint 2, should be the cell should move from out of this checkpoint to come into the M phase. So this maturation promotion factor or maturation promoting factor that is made up of cyclin B and CDK1 is required so that the cell can move from G2 to M phase. Now we will see again what is actually happening here. So, okay, actually I have edited this particular diagram from Cooper only. So this is the simple diagram, but actually there are certain questions you may ask from this particular diagram. Sir, what are the phosphorylation enzymes here, what are the dephosphorylation enzymes here, how the cell cycle is regulated in a complex manner, what are the molecular basics after this mechanism, this control mechanisms, and all these things. Okay, so someone is saying my voice is not clear. I want to know, are you facing the same problem or it is fine now? Anyone, please tell me whether you are able to get my voice. Oh, thank you, Aarti. Got it, got it, got it. Thank you. So now actually, okay, so one thing I can do is I can unlock this. Now it is more visible to you. And actually what I want to tell you in this particular diagram is there is two type of subunits. One is called cyclin B, and the cyclin B is synthesized during each cell cycle. Okay, so when the cell is in G2 or want to come in G2, before that the cyclin B synthesis will be started, and the CDK1 is already there in the cell cytosol. So this CDK1, which is having some catalytic activity or having kinase activity, will form a complex with this regulatory subunit. Okay, so when these two subunits join together, cyclin B and CDK1 complex, this particular complex is called MPF, maturation promoting factor. And certain factors here, we want to know in this particular class what type of factors or kinases. Actually, we know the name of enzymes. This is a general class which is required for phosphorylation events are known as kinases. So three basic kinases are required to phosphorylate these different positions within CDK. You can see three dots here. So this pink dots are threonine actually. We know threonine. Threonine is represented by T. This is a proteogenic amino acid. The second thing is this white dot, or we can say it's a little blue dot, is tyrosine. Tyrosine is represented by Y. So, okay, so this tyrosine 15, threonine 14, and threonine 161. So these, wait a minute, I need to admit people. We're waiting. Okay, thank you. So the three positions, out of which one is activating and two are inhibiting positions, are phosphorylated by certain kinases. And now I want to ask you, do you know the name of those kinases which are required to phosphorylate these three positions respectively? There are three different kinases which are required for specific phosphorylation of each position within this particular CDK or cyclin dependent kinase. Someone? I'm waiting for your answer. V1, yes. Shreya, actually V1, yes. This is a kinase, but actually, no. CDC25 is not a kinase. This is phosphatase beta. Okay, so I know this is a little confusing, so that's why I am teaching you this particular topic again and in more details actually. Okay, so anyone else? Shreya, do you know this V1? Yes, you are correct. That V1 is a kinase and it is required for the phosphorylation of CDK1, one of the specific position out of these three positions. Can you please let me know specifically at what position or amino acid it is going to phosphorylate? Oh, Ankita, CDK7 is different thing. Okay. Yes, we will discuss CDK7 also in this particular class. Actually, we have discussed so many CDKs and cyclins, but yes, I will discuss the CDK7 also in today's class only. Till date, we have discussed CDK1, CDK2. If you are not remembering, okay, so I will lead you again to this particular diagram. Okay, so we have discussed CDK1, CDK2, CDK4 and 6. Okay, so 1, 2, 4 and 6. In today's class, we are going to discuss CDK7 also. And cyclins, we have discussed so many cyclins. So actually cyclin A, cyclin B, cyclin D, cyclin E. I have also told you the cyclin C is required during G0 phase of cell cycle. But in today's class, we will discuss cyclin H also. So today's class is going to be more interesting, and actually we will learn some of the molecular basics of cell cycle regulation in today's class. So be patient. And okay, Priyanshi, yes, but threonine, serine threonine. Okay, catalyzed by V1. Okay, okay, okay. CAK, yes, CAK is a CDK activating kinase, and this okay, Ankita, you are right here. This CDK activating kinase is made up of actually CDK7 and cyclin H. Now we will go into the details of this molecular mechanism, how this cell cycle regulation is going to take place. Okay, so we will move back to our particular diagram. So I want you to come here. Okay, in this particular screen, you are able to see more clearly from here that this particular complex is formed when the CDK1 is making a complex with cyclin B. Now this complex is having two subunits. One is called a regulatory subunit, one is called catalytic subunit, and catalytic subunit in turn having certain positions at which phosphorylation is going to take place, जहाँ पे phosphorylation होना है. To make it more Yogesh Kumar, yes beta, if you want, if you have any query, you can write in the chat box, you are having it. And okay. Yogesh, if you have any query, please write in the chat box. Then only I am able to know what you want to ask specifically. Okay. So Yogesh is having something. Okay, no problem. In my previous class, I also by mistake, and actually in Nitin sir's class, I by mistake raised my hand, and I actually do not know how to remove that. Oh, that is a different thing if you raise it by mistake. And if you are facing any query, or you are facing any problem in this particular diagram or in this particular regulation, then you are free to ask any question from here. Okay. Now we are moving from here to different regulatory mechanism. So we are here. This particular complex is called maturation promotion factor. This is a direct question, can be asked in any competitive examination, that MPF is made up of CDK1 and cyclin B. Fine. Now the CDK1 is having certain positions from where this particular regulation is going to take place. So this phosphorylation is done by three different kinases. Now we will come to this particular PDF. These different kinases are CAK, that is called as CDK activating kinase. This particular kinase is phosphorylating the threonine 161 position, this particular position. Now I want you to move back. Okay, so this particular position, because this particular diagram is more clear in this particular PDF. Okay, so this particular position is phosphorylated by CAK, which is a kinase, or the full form is CDK activating kinase, CAK. Phosphorylate this particular threonine, and from the previous diagram or previous discussion, you know this particular threonine, which is around 160 position or exactly 161 position, and CDK1 is having some activating effect over this complex. Okay, so once this is phosphorylated, this is activated, but two other phosphorylation events also happening simultaneously, which are having some inhibitory effect over this particular complex. So now we will see how this is relieved, how this is happening, and all these things. Okay, someone is having a query. Let me see. Okay, okay, beta, no problem. Now, once this phosphorylation is done by CAK, the two other kinases are also active at the same time in your cell. One is called MYT1 and second is called V1. Now, this MYT1 actually phosphorylating your 14th threonine, and the V1, which is a term. Actually, what is meaning of V you can find from Cooper. Actually, it is given in previous page only. So this V1 actually, when the scientists were doing some experiment, तो उन्होंने कुछ mutants produce करे. So उन mutants में actually हुआ क्या था बेटा? These V1 means, or the V term is a Scottish term which means small. तो जिन म्यूटेंट्स में V1 म्यूटेटेड था वो म्यूटेंट साइज में छोटे थे, स्मॉल थे, ठीक है, वो सेल्स का साइज स्मॉल था. सो दीज म्यूटेंट्स आर वर स्मॉल and this particular term V is given to a kinase because these mutants are result from this particular kinase. Therefore V1, which is from here, this V1 mean to phosphorylate your tyrosine 15. This is the term for mutants which were small in size, because in Scottish, see, in science the certain terms you will see that certain Greek terms or these terms are used, but actually this V is a Scottish term which means small. Okay, and the V1 is a particular kinase which was discovered to phosphorylate tyrosine specifically at 15th position. So CAK, that is a CDK activating kinase, is phosphorylating threonine 161. V1, which is phosphorylating your tyrosine at 15th number of position. MYT is also a kinase which is required to phosphorylate your threonine 14. Okay, now you're clear that all these positions are specifically phosphorylated by different category of kinases, but kinases are from the same family and do the same function. They phosphorylate certain amino acids which are having OH functional group, hydroxy functional groups. Okay, once they are all phosphorylated, now the regulation, see, this is little bit complex, but certain things are required when you driving your car or scooty or motorcycle. You are having activating things, you are having inhibitory things. Activating things, for example, you are having accelerator or race, or the inhibitory things you are having brakes. So to move your bike or your car from one position to the next, you need to relieve the brakes, you need to put the accelerator should be pressed, or the race should be given, so that the cell can move from this particular position to the next position. So you need to remove these brakes, these inhibitory phosphorylations should be removed so that this particular complex is activated. And from the previous discussion, now it is clear, it is very clear that this is particular position is activating in nature, this particular positions are inhibitory in nature. So until and unless you do not remove these phosphorylations, the cell cycle progression will not take place. So to remove these particular phosphates, we need different category of enzymes which are known as phosphatases. Now you will see here, there are certain CDC25 family members, either A or C, are required to remove these phosphate groups which are having inhibitory effect over this particular complex, MPF complex. So once they are removed, now you will see when these CDC25 members do dephosphorylation, these two phosphates are removed from this particular complex, and only the activating threonine 161 is phosphorylated. You will see certain yellow colored things are coming out of this complex, meaning this particular CDK is become activated. So it can do its function. So it will move the cell from G2 phase of cell cycle into the mitosis phase or M phase. That's how cell will move out of this particular checkpoint, which is in G2 phase of cell cycle. And now the cell is entering into your M phase. When your cell is entered into the M phase, the function of this particular MPF complex is over. This particular cyclin B is degraded and CDK1 is left alone. Now, this is surprising that this particular degradation of cyclin B is done by CDK1 itself. It will promote the degradation of cyclin B. Now अगर अभी तक भी किसी को समझ में नहीं आया है तो I will tell you it again, and this is very important. Okay, you may ask questions. बेटा जब तक सीडी के वन को साइक्लिन बी की रिक्वायरमेंट होती है तब तक वो उसके साथ कॉम्प्लेक्स बना के रखता है. वंस द सेल इज मूव्ड आउट ऑफ G2 phase into the M phase, there is no need of cyclin B. So CDK1 itself eliminate or help in elimination of cyclin B, so that the cyclin B can undergo ubiquitin mediated proteasomal degradation. Okay, so when there is no need, it will lead to the inactivation or degradation of cyclin B. लेकिन अगर cyclin B का degradation हो जाएगा तो CDK1 भी इनएक्टिवेट हो जाएगा, क्योंकि CDK1 तभी फंक्शन कर सकता है जब वो साइक्लिन B के साथ था, तभी तक वो एक्टिव था. अगर साइक्लिन B नहीं है, रेगुलेटरी सब यूनिट नहीं है, तो कैटालिटिक सब यूनिट का कोई भी फंक्शन it will become inactivated. It will not able to act like as previous when it was bound to cyclin B. Okay, there is two queries. Let me answer them and then we are moving next. How degradation happen, beta? I told you ubiquitin mediated proteasomal degradation, which is enhanced by CDK1 itself. CDK1 ही वो एंजाइम है जो इस ubiquitin mediated proteasomal degradation को enhance करता है, उसे तोड़ने में help करता है. Shreya is having no queries. I think Shreya, you got all the things out of this cell cycle regulation or MPF regulation. So if you are able to get it, you can read it from here also. CDK1 forms complex with cyclin B during G2 phase of cell cycle. CDK1 is then phosphorylated on threonine 161, which is having some activating function, function obviously, which is required for CDK1 activity, as well as tyrosine 15 and 14. See, this threonine 14 is only in vertebrate cells, whereas this is universal, or in lower organism also you will find the tyrosine 15 with the help of V1 is getting phosphorylated, but this threonine 14 is specific for vertebrate cells, which inhibits CDK1 activity. So once they are phosphorylated over 14 and 15 number positions, the CDK1 become inactivated because they are having inhibitory effects over this particular complex. So dephosphorylation is required. So you need to remove these particular phosphates out of this 14 and 15 number position so that this particular CDK or cyclin dependent kinase can be activated, so that the cell can move out of G2 phase into the M phase of cell cycle. MPF activity is then terminated towards the end of mitosis by proteolytic degradation of cyclin B with the help of some proteasome or ubiquitin mediated proteasomal degradation. Now, three things are required and you will see here. So once this proteolytic destruction or degradation of cyclin B take place, then inactivates CDK1. Underline this particular point, inactivates CDK1. And from the previous line, you can see in addition, CDK1 activity triggers the degradation of cyclin B. बेटा जब तक cyclin B की requirement थी CDK1 को, तब तक वो उसके साथ में complex बना के रखता है. Once the cell is out of G2 phase, its function is over. Now this CDK1 do not require cyclin B, and it trigger the degradation of cyclin B. Once cyclin B is degraded here, this complex is also become inactivated, which occurs as a result of ubiquitin mediated proteolysis. This proteolytic destruction of cyclin B then inactivates CDK1 on this called cyclin dependent kinase 1, leading to cell to exit mitosis. Now three things will happen. The cell is out of mitosis once this is inactivated, cyclin B is degraded. Undergo cytokinesis. Once the nuclear division is over, the cell will undergo cytokinesis so that the daughter cells can be formed and return to interphase. और उसके बाद बेटा क्या होगा, तो cell cycle पूरी हो जाएगी. M phase के बाद में आता है G1 phase, and we know G1 is a part of interphase again, and the cycle will repeat again, G1 as G2 and again into M phase. So इस तरह से आपकी cell cycle चलती रहती है और उसका regulation होता रहता है. People are having queries. Okay, so first of all, okay, what are the steps that CDK1 uses to degrade cyclin B? Okay, so actually You need to know more about this molecular mechanism. Trishla, okay. So actually, this is not described here, but if you search this thing, you will certainly get in certain research papers. This will be given somewhere, or I will tell you after the class. Okay. Ankita, sir, is this threonine or tyrosinol present simultaneously? Yes, in certain organisms, but actually this threonine 14 regulation take place in vertebrates or in higher organisms, whereas this tyrosine is conserved throughout all organisms, or generally because, see, okay, so Ankita, actually this cell cycle regulation, what we are discussing in this particular diagram, okay, so majority of discoveries are done in either C. elegans, which is worm, in frogs, which are amphibians, or in Saccharomyces, which are yeast actually in lower organisms. So actually these tyrosines are actually conserved throughout all organisms and discovered in C. elegans and these Saccharomyces cerevisiae and pombi first. So from there, these are written in this particular diagram. Okay, they are represented. Ankita, I hope you got your answer, or I need to explain it again to you. Okay, thank you. So thank you so much. There are 16 members in today's class. I can see you all, and I hope some of you are in today's class only. Actually, we have discussed many things about cell cycle regulation in earlier classes also, but some of you are joining from this class, so might face some of the difficulties. I understand. If you are facing any difficulty or having any query, you may ask directly. I will not consider, means I will not mind that. It is obvious that you will have, or you will face some of the difficulties in your first class, because we have, this is our fourth or fifth class, I think. So we have studied many things before this class. Okay. So now after this, these things actually we have discussed in our previous classes also, that in yeast, in Saccharomyces, there is only one start, one restriction point in cell cycle, and they are having simple regulation than when compared to vertebrates or higher organisms, because there is only one CDK1, and the cyclins are different for different phases, and they are having only one breaker, that is called start. If the cell is out of this start, then the cell cycle is over. Now, actually, I want you to move from here to here. So, okay, I also tell you this particular inhibitory factors. See this diagram. Actually, we have discussed this particular diagram. This is more much easy for me to describe this particular diagram with the help of this. Okay, so if this particular complex, this cyclin complex, is found with CDK, that is cyclin dependent kinase. So we know this is regulatory subunit, this is catalytic subunit. Okay, so but this particular complex will not work until and unless it is associated with certain inhibitory factors, certain this is called cyclin dependent kinase inhibitors, or CDK inhibitors in short. So this CDK inhibitor, CKI, can be categorized into two families. These two families are either, these are CDK inhibitors, and CDK inhibitors are two families. One is called INK4 family, and second is called CDK inhibitor proteins or kinase inhibitor proteins. So INK4 family is having P15, 16, 18, 19. Whereas this particular INK4 family is specifically to inhibit G1 phase of cell cycle, because we know in G1 this CDK4 and CDK6 are required in G1. Okay, so this is G1. This particular phase of cell cycle is G1, and to come out of this phase, we need cyclin D, which is forming complex with the cyclin dependent kinase 4 and 6. And you will see here there are certain CDK inhibitors which are doing some kind of regulation here. So actually, this particular class of cell cycle inhibitors are called as INC4 family of proteins, जिसमें आते हैं आपके P15, P16, 18 and 19. In fact, there is no 17. Okay. Now the second class or second family of inhibitors are CIP-KIP family, which is CDK inhibitors or kinase inhibitory proteins. So these involve 21, 27 and 57. 27 we have discussed yesterday. 21 also, because this is under the direct control of P53. This is under direct control of retinoblastoma protein, and P57 we did not describe yet, but we will find it somewhere in our discussion. Okay, so for these different phases of cell cycle, so many complexes are formed. CDK1 is forming complex with cyclin A, CDK1 can also form complex with cyclin B, or the CDK2 which can form complex with either A or E cyclin. So the two CDK, one is CDK1 and CDK2 inhibition is done via these CIP-KIP family inhibitors. And it can be done either G1, either G2, either G2 to M phase transition, or during the S phase of cell cycle where DNA replication is taking place. Now, I want you to read certain text from your Cooper, and we will move to page number 664. Now, actually, we are on. So this particular page is 664. Okay, so this is given here, this type of regulation. Now, we will read it out and we will finish this particular certain things are given here which are very important to discuss before we move to our next topic. So this is not important actually. Now, this is very important. From the second paragraph, I want to read it. The activity of cyclin dependent kinases during the cell cycle progression is regulated by 4 molecular mechanisms. If we want to study the molecular mechanism of regulation of cell, means these kinases or these phosphorylating proteins, there is 4 mechanisms. So first mechanism, level of regulation involves the association of CDK with their cyclin partners. तो पहली जो चीज है, first things of regulation which is coming in the path of regulation is there should be specifically bound to their partner cyclins. जो भी CDK है, for example, CDK1 can bind with cyclin A or B, but to make maturation promotion factor or MPF, it should bind with cyclin B. So this is a regulatory role, regulatory subunit. This is a catalytic role or kinase activity. So catalytic subunit, 2 subunits are bound together. So this is first kind of regulation which is going to take place in this particular pathway or regulation. So thus the formation of specific CDK cyclin complexes is controlled by the cyclin synthesis and degradation. इसलिए हर फेज में सेल साइकिल के साइक्लिन्स की सिंथेसिस होती है और डिग्रेडेशन होता है और वो डिसाइड करता है कि किस टाइप से रेगुलेशन होना है. एंड दिस इज वेरी स्पेसिफिक. ओके, second thing or second molecular mechanism of regulation is activation of CDK cyclin complexes required phosphorylation of conserved CDK threonine residues around position 160. Actually, in CDK1, it is 161th position. That is, threonine at 161 position or around this 160 position is required to be phosphorylated, so that because this is having some activating effects. So once it is phosphorylated, the CDK will be activated. The kinase activity will be activated. Second thing, this. So actually this is done via CAK, that is called CDK activating kinase. I told you this. And this particular kinase is made up of CDK7, which is complex with cyclin H. Please underline this. This cyclin, the CDK activating kinase is a complex of CDK7 with cyclin H. These two things, okay? So once they're forming a complex, this particular CDK7 and cyclin H, they're forming a kinase, forming a complex. This is called CAK, and this particular CAK is going to phosphorylate your threonine around 160 position of CDK one. For example, CDK1 threonine 161 position and lead to its activation. Now, the complex of CDK7 and cyclin H are also associated with transcription factors. Oh, now we are moving to molecular biology. I'm really sorry, but actually I will give you a little glimpse of this particular thing because this is a portion of molecular biology and we are right now in cell biology. So how this regulation is going to take place, what is this transcription factor second H and how it is regulated. So this complex which is going to activate your CDK1 or going to phosphorylate your threonine 160 position threonine or around 160 position threonine, it is also having some molecular biology functions. It is associated with transcription factor second H. This particular transcription factor is required for the initiation of mRNA synthesis, which is required for initiation of transcription by RNA polymerase 2. So this member of CDK family participate in transcription as well as in cell cycle regulation. Now you will see someone yesterday's class asked me one question that how this P53 and CDC family members can regulate the same pathway. Beta, it can regulate. Now, if you suppose you live in Maharashtra, you want to go to Delhi, you can go either from Mumbai or from Andhra to Howrah, and this particular path is also going to Delhi only. So similarly, this particular complex or this CDK activating kinase is having two functions. One in cell cycle regulation, we have seen, and the second function in to participate in transcription. Okay, so I will tell you how it is going to regulate your transcription. So actually, I have taken it from Leininger. See, there are certain transcription factors which are required for transcription, either for initiation or elongation factors. So in initiation, there are certain polymerase 2 is binding with data binding protein, transcription factor A, B, E, F, and H. There are 5 factors or 5 transcription factors. Now we are going to discuss the transcription factor second H, which is under control of, under regulation of CDK activating kinase CAK, which is made up of cyclin H and CDK7. So it is a 12 subunit complex itself having this particular molecular weight. What is the functions? It is going to unwind your DNA. So it is having some helicase activity. Therefore, it is called H, helicase activity. It is going to phosphorylate because it is having some kinase functions also. So phosphorylate polymerase 2 within the C-terminal domain recruits nucleotide excision repair proteins. So this is a different function. So if during transcription it want to remove some of the nucleotides and want to repair some of the nucleotides, so it is also having this particular function, nucleotide excision repair proteins. So it can recruit those particular proteins. Now, this particular functions are given in the text also. The sequential assembly of data binding protein with A, B, F plus polymerase 2, E, and H result in a closed complex formation. This particular thing we will also discuss in molecular biology. You will find it there also. But because it is given here and I want you to have some basic understanding of this particular regulation or mechanism. So within the complex, this closed complex is formed, and this closed complex, the DNA is unwound because this transcription factor second S is having some helicase activity. So the DNA is unwound at the initiation site by the helicase activity of this particular transcription factor, which is under control of this particular CAK, CDK activating kinase, and perhaps the E, creating an open complex. So once the closed complex is formed, DNA is unbound, and this lead to the formation of an open complex. So this question also has been asked. So beta always close complex से open complex का formation होता है जब initiation होता है, okay, या mRNA बनना start होता है. So the carboxyl terminal domain or CTD of the largest polymerase 2 subunit is phosphorylated by this particular transcription factor, and polymerase then escape to the promoter and begin the transcription. उसके बाद ये particular polymerase 2 प्रमोटर से आगे बढ़ जाता है और इस तरह से हमारा ट्रांसक्रिप्शन का इनिशिएशन स्टार्ट हो जाता है. नाउ यू विल सी इन दिस particular diagram. All this is given at page number 1067 in your Leninzer edition 6. Okay, so you can also find this particular complex from here. It is more clear here. So this is 1067 page in your Leninzer. I'm having 6th edition of this particular book. So this is your Tata box around -30 position, and this is your transcription initiation +1, denoted by +1. So Tata binding protein is going to bind at this particular position around Tata box. Then these transcription factors will come and bind to this particular Tata box, forming a complex, initiation complex. Then at last, the one factor that is called as transcription factor second H will bind, and it will lead to the formation of pre-initiation complex, which is closed. Then this pre-initiation complex is forming an open complex, and this open complex, this bubble is formed, means this complex is now open. Once this is open, this transcription factor second H's move out of the complex along with transcription factor second E and H are out. Then the elongation complex will form, and elongation factors are being added to this particular complex. Then they will lead to formation of termination complex, and that's how this particular mechanism of regulation in molecular biology during your mRNA synthesis is taking place. I hope this is clear. Actually, I want to have some basic understanding of this RNA polymerase 2 functioning and how this transcription factor second S is going to regulate your transcription. If you're having some query, you may ask. Otherwise, I'm going to next discussion of our today's class. Thank you, Trishla. Okay. So we have seen the two molecular mechanism of regulation. One is through the formation of specific cyclin and CDK complexes, and second is by phosphorylation of activating threonine. Okay, around 160 position, or at specifically 161 position in CDK1. Now the third mechanism or molecular basis of regulation is through in contrast to activating phosphorylation by CAK, the third mechanism of CDK regulation involves the inhibitory phosphorylation of threonine and tyrosine. Threonine at 14th number of position and tyrosine around 15th number of position. Now, actually, the kinase which I have discussed with you guys, that is known as W. Okay, sorry, I forgot the name, WYT, I think. Okay, so this WYT1 is not given Cooper actually, but I found this from one research paper, and I want you to read this particular text which I have copied from that particular research paper. So see here, this CDK1 cyclin B complex, which is also known as MPF complex, okay, so also known as CDC2 because this CDK1 is also known as CDC2. Okay, so what is the full form of CDK? This is cyclin dependent kinase, whereas the CDC is the cell cycle dependent. Sorry. So I also told you in my previous class, the CDC is full form of cell division control protein kinases or phosphatases. Actually, under CDC, two major classes of enzymes, kinases or phosphatases will come. Actually, CDC2 is a kinase, CDC25 is a phosphatase. So cell division control proteins, CDC for cell division control proteins, or the M phase promoting factor, that is called MPF. Told you many times. Activation of CDK1 cyclin B brings the onset of mitosis and moves cell out of G2 phase. You know this, and it is tightly regulated. Okay. Now CDK1 cyclin B is a serine threonine protein kinase. Yes, it is going to phosphorylate your threonine and sometimes serine also, composed of catalytic subunit that is made up of CDK1 and regulatory subunit, which is cyclin B, actually B1 isoform. This B is having three different isoforms. One is called B1, B2, and B3. Similarly, D is also having, cyclin D is also having D1, D2, D3, whereas cyclin A and E are having two isoform, A1 and A2, E1 and E2 respectively. Now, this is noteworthy that binding of CDK1 to cyclin B is essential for activation of kinase, because this particular complex or MPF is formed by specific binding of CDK1 and cyclin B only. Now, phosphorylation of threonine 161 is required for activation of CDK1, that we have already studied, and is mediated by this particular kinase CAK. During G2 phase of cell cycle, CDK1 and cyclin B complex, or this MPF complex, is held in inactive state. Vandana is entering in this particular class. Beta, you are so much late. Okay, I do not know, but please do not be surprised if you are not able to understand any concepts, because we have studied a lot of things in our previous classes also, in this particular class also. So please be on time and try to understand these things by self-study. Please do self-study as much as you can. Phosphorylation of T161 is required for the activation of CDK1 cyclin B complex and is mediated by CAK kinase. We have studied this. During G2 phase of cell cycle, this particular complex is held in an inactivated state or inactive state, because this particular CDK's phosphorylation is taking place at two negative regulatory sites, that is at threonine 14 position and tyrosine 15 positions. You have already studied. These are called inhibitory protein kinases. One is called MIT1 and B1 respectively. So this MIT1 is going to phosphorylate your threonine 14 and B1 is going to phosphorylate your tyrosine 15 respectively. Dephosphorylation of T14 and 15 positions are done by CDC25 protein phosphatases in late G2 phase of cell cycle, when cell want to move from G2 phase into the M phase of cell cycle. So activate the CDK1 cyclin B complex, so trigger the initiation of mitosis. So once this complex is, these two inhibitory phosphates are removed by CDC family of protein phosphatase, so it releases this particular complex, MPF complex, and cell will enter into the M phase of cell cycle from G2 phase of cell cycle. Hope this is clear. मेरे को लग रहा है कुछ लोग तो सो ही गए होंगे क्लास में. So actually we have discussed this table earlier also. There are specific formation of certain cyclin and CDK complexes during specific phases of cell cycle. Two more queries. I'm coming to your queries after discussing this particular table. Please have patience. So during G1 or during G0 phase of cell cycle or resting state of cell cycle, in which the cell is in metabolically active but will not divide. So the cyclin C and CDK3 is forming a complex. During G1, D and E. First of all, D is forming a complex with CDK4 and 6, and then in late G1, the cyclin E is forming a complex with CDK2. During S phase of cell cycle, cyclin E and A are forming complex with CDK2 only, but in a sequential manner. First, this E is forming a complex, then this A is forming a complex. Then the cell will move to G2. During G2, cyclin A is forming a complex with either CDK1 or CDK2. But this particular complex is flexible, okay, but also formed during G2 when the cyclin B synthesis start towards the end of G2. The cyclin B is synthesized, and the cyclin B then forming a complex with CDK1 to make maturation promotion factor or MPF. Okay, then cell will finally move out of G2 into the M phase. Now, when cell want to move from this particular phase, out of this phase G2 into the M phase, we also have one cyclin called cyclin H, recently discussed, which is forming a complex with CDK7. This is called CDK activating kinase, and this phosphorylate your threonine 161 in CDK1. Okay, so will allow your cell to move out of G2 phase and enter into the M phase of cell cycle. Now, we'll discuss the queries first, and then I will tell you something else. Okay. So from here also, actually, this is a particular regulation. I found this particular diagram from somewhere, but it's little complex, but I do not want you to move into this. This we have studied that this retinoblastoma protein is under regulation of CDK4/6, which is making a complex with G1 or cyclin D. Okay. So during G1 or towards the end of G1 phase of cell cycle, this particular complex is formed, and this is going to phosphorylate your retinoblastoma protein, which is the mutants can lead to cancer. Okay. So this retinoblastoma protein, once phosphorylated, it will freeze the E2F transcription factor, and thus your cell can move out of G1 phase and enter into the S phase. This is very simple, and actually one more factor is involved in this particular diagram. Yes, this is P16, which is INK4 family of inhibitors. So this particular complex or CDK4/6, when making a complex with cyclin D, is under the control of one negative regulator called P16, which is in your P16 we have recently discussed. Sorry, it is far behind. So P16 from here. So P16 is in INK4 family of inhibitors or CDK inhibitors, which are specifically having some negative roles or effects over CDK4 or over CDK6 during G1 phase of cell cycle. Now the second diagram is describing this INK4 family of proteins which are acting as inhibitors or having some inhibitory effect over CDK4 and 6 or over this particular complex, the CDK4 and 6 making complex with cyclin D1 or D2. Okay, so these are will not allow the phosphorylation of this particular retinoblastoma protein, protein 130 and protein 107, and these particular proteins are interacting with E2F. This particular E2F should be freed out of this retinoblastoma protein and other proteins so that it can efficiently move into the nucleus, because this is a transcription factor and it is required for the synthesis of cyclin E in S phase of cell cycle. So actually this particular family that is involving P21 and P27, this P21 is called CIP, that is CDK inhibitory proteins, and P27 is called kinase inhibitory proteins. This is a common term, kinase inhibitory proteins. So it can inhibit any of the kinase. So it is also having some inhibitory effect over CDK2 and cyclin E during S phase of cell cycle. So will not allow the phosphorylation to take place. But if these are not present, the phosphorylation will take place. And once it is phosphorylated, once the retinoblastoma and other proteins are phosphorylated, there is loss of affinity between these proteins and E2F. Now this E2F will be freed and will move into the nucleus, so will enhance the formation of certain proteins because the mRNA synthesis or the transcription will be activated. Fine. Okay, now we will move to Cooper again. One more thing I want to discuss in today's class only. Yesterday, and follow the names, I think Ankita asked a question, and actually I'm not getting whether she was clear or not. She simply says yes, I'm able to get it. And I do not know how many of you are having the same doubt. Okay, so I'm coming here. DNA damage checkpoints we had discussed in yesterday's class also. I will discuss. These are very important, and that's why I want to discuss them in today's class also, so that you can formally get the concept how they are regulated. So see, there is two family of proteins. One is called ATM and second family is called ATR. If there is a single strand break in the DNA or the DNA is unreplicated during the S phase of cell cycle or before the S phase of cell cycle, the cell cycle will be inhibited by these complexes or these proteins. Therefore, they are called as DNA damage checkpoints. So during this DNA damage checkpoint, the two proteins, either ATM or ATR, are required. And during okay. So during single strand breaks, this ATR protein is required. During double strand breaks, ATM protein will be required. Now they will activate two different family of kinases. One is called checkpoint kinase 1. If there is single strand break, the checkpoint kinase 1 will be phosphorylated by ATR protein. If there is double strand break, the checkpoint kinase 2 will be phosphorylated by ATM protein. So ATM is a protein, not your okay. Now, once these two checkpoints are phosphorylated, they can simultaneously inhibit the CDC family, CDC25 phosphatase family. Now, we have already discussed the two family of proteins. One is called kinases. These are kinases, and they will inhibit phosphatases. See, phosphatases are group of proteins which are required to remove the phosphate groups because their function is to remove the phosphate groups. Now suppose if these kinases are able to phosphorylate the phosphatase itself. देखो phosphatase का फंक्शन क्या होता है, फॉस्फेट को रिमूव करना. लेकिन मान लो अगर इनके ऊपर ही फॉस्फोराइलेशन हो जाए तो क्या हो जाएगा, इनका डिग्रेडेशन हो जाएगा. Therefore, they are inhibited. There is inhibitory sign here. They are inhibited by these two kinases, either checkpoint kinase 1 or checkpoint kinase 2. So, how they will able to inhibit them? They will phosphorylate these two phosphatases and will not allow to remove these two phosphates which we have earlier discussed. Now, see, these two phosphatases, either CDC25A or 25C, are coming under CDC25 family. These family of phosphatases are required to remove certain phosphorylation or inhibitory phosphorylation from this particular complex. So this CDC25 family is required to remove these two phosphorylations from threonine 14 and tyrosine 15. Okay. Suppose these two inhibitory phosphorylations are not relieved. So this particular complex will be in inactivated state. The cell will not progress to the M phase of cell cycle and thus will be inhibited in the G2 phase of cell cycle itself. तो एक तरह से तो जो अगर हमारे डीएनए में कोई प्रॉब्लम है, either DNA is mutated or DNA is damaged, so cell cycle progression will not take place because this particular CDC25 phosphatase family of protein is degraded, or I can say inactivated by phosphorylation by different group of proteins called as checkpoint kinase 1 or checkpoint kinase 2 proteins. Got this point? Once they are phosphorylated, they will be degraded. And once they are degraded, they will not be able to move. They will not able to move this particular complex into an activating state. So this inhibitory positions are occupied by phosphate groups, and therefore this particular complex is in an inactive state. And the cell will not move out of G2 phase of the cell cycle and will not go into M phase of cell cycle. So thus the cell cycle will be inhibited. Okay. So someone is having a query, I hope. Thank you, Ankita. It is crystal clear now. Now, okay, so either this particular arrest will taking place if the double strand break, then because there is double strand break and double strand break is more dangerous than the single strand break. So the cell cycle progression is inhibited in G1 phase only, or during the S phase of cell cycle, because there is double strand break. But if there is a single strand break, the cell cycle progression will be inhibited before the daughter cells are formed, means during the G2 phase of cell cycle. If it is crystal clear, then it is very fine for me to move you guys from this particular phase into the next. Ankita, you are there in class from my first class, I think, but there are certain individuals, certain members which have joined today only. So I'm also thinking about those guys. I'm telling them guys because they are very, I want to see their faces, okay, because this is very complex and actually they're entering directly into my regulation class. Okay, so they need to read by themselves. So they need to do a lot of self-study if they want to come to the next class. Okay. If they are having any queries, they are welcome. They can ask me here only, or they can also message me personally over WhatsApp, or can ask in WhatsApp group. No problem. Okay, we will discuss those queries later. Now, actually, one thing more I want to discuss with you all. Okay. So please underline this. Both checkpoint kinase 1, this both, not one. Actually, in Pathfinder, they are given that they are two separate pathways, but here it is very clear that both checkpoint kinase 1 and 2 phosphorylate and inhibit CDC25 phosphatase members, which are required to activate this particular CDK cyclin complexes by removing the inhibitory phosphorylations. Please underline this. And if you are not able to underline, please have a screenshot or write in your notebook. Now, this is also very important in mammalian cells. See, जितनी भी studies हुई हैं अभी तक cell cycle regulation की, वो ज़्यादातर जो पहली discoveries थी, means when these complexes, cyclins and CDK को discover करना start किया लोगों ने, उस time पे उसकी studies के लिए use होते थे Saccharomyces यानी yeast, C. elegans and like lower organisms. But later it was found that in mammalian cells, because mammals are more complex, we are talking about ourselves, mammalian cells, arrest at G1 checkpoint is also mediated by action of additional protein that is known as P53, the guardian of the genome. Okay. So how this P53 is very important, we have already discussed in our previous classes, but because this P53 protein is complexed with some other protein called as MDM2 protein, which is phosphorylated by both ATM and checkpoint kinase 2. See, I want you to see this. So actually, oh sorry, they are not showing this P53 here. Oh, we have studied this actually from our Pathfinder. No worries, no worries. Okay. So, okay, so both ATM and checkpoint kinase 2 are able to phosphorylate P53 instead of CDC25A. Okay, so see here. So this ATM protein which bind to double strand break and checkpoint kinase 2 are able to phosphorylate P53. Now underline this. This phosphorylation stabilizes P53. Once the P53 is phosphorylated, it is very stable. And once it is very stable, it will not form a complex with different protein, regulatory proteins, for example, MDM2. And because it is a transcription factor, and once it is stabilized, it will, otherwise, if the phosphorylation is not there, it will be rapidly degraded. But once the phosphorylation is there, it will not be degraded anymore. So resulting in a rapid increase in P53 levels in response to the DNA damage. So अगर DNA में कोई damage हो गया है, तो क्या होगा? MDM2 protein से P53 segregate हो जाएगा, because ATM protein और checkpoint kinase 2 protein उसके ऊपर phosphorylations कर देंगे. resulting in a rapid increase in p53 levels in response to DNA damage. The p53 protein is a transcription factor, and its expression will lead to the induction of CIP-KIP family of protein members. We know it is responsible for the transcription of p21, and this p21 is coming under this particular family of inhibitors, CIP-KIP family. From the table you will get this. So this p21 protein inhibitors are inhibitors for this particular complex. This is CDK2 cyclin E, and you know very well that this particular complex is formed during S phase of cell cycle when your DNA is going to replicate, leading to the cell cycle arrest at G1. Once this complex is inhibited, because this complex is also required during late G1, and therefore, if this complex is inhibited by P21, because P21 transcription is enhanced by P53 in turn, so the cell cycle will be arrested during the G1 phase of cell cycle towards the late G1, that is called G1S checkpoint, okay, or the first checkpoint. Interestingly, the gene encoding, and the second thing is because the P53 is activated in response to double strand break, and the double strand breaks are more harmful than single strand breaks. Therefore, the cell need to be arrested in G1 itself. Okay. Interestingly, the gene encoding for P53 is frequently mutated in human cancers. ये देखा गया है कि बहुत सारे human cancers ऐसे हैं जहाँ पे P53 म्यूटेट हो जाता है. अब बेटा अगर P53 में म्यूटेशन हो जाएगा तो एक्चुअली होगा क्या कि P53 में म्यूटेशन होने के बाद में मान लो उसी पोजीशन पे म्यूटेशन हो गया जहाँ पे वो फॉस्फोराइलेशन होके स्टेबलाइज हो रहा था. So this lead to the loss of function of P53. Loss of P53 function as a result of these mutations prevent G1 arrest. तो अगर DNA में डबल स्टैंड ब्रेक होगा तो सेल साइकिल का अरेस्ट G1 फेज ऑफ सेल साइकिल में नहीं होगा. सेल विल कंटिन्यू टू move from one phase into the second phase of cell cycle, और इस तरह से जो DNA डैमेज वाली सेल्स हैं उनका भी क्या होगा, डॉटर सेल्स बन जाएंगे. So G1 arrest नहीं होगा तो क्या होगा, in response to DNA damage, so the damaged DNA is replicated. DNA में जो डैमेज था उसका रेप्लिकेशन वैसे ही हो जाएगा and passed on to the daughter cells, और daughter cells को वही damaged DNA double strand break वाला चला जाएगा instead of being repaired. Sorry. This inheritance of damaged DNA result in an increased frequency of mutations. अगर daughter cells को एक damaged DNA का inheritance होगा तो उसकी वजह से जो फ्रीक्वेंसी है म्यूटेशंस के एक्यूमुलेट होने की वो बढ़ती चली जाएगी, एंड जो हमारा सेलुलर जीनोम है उसमें एक इंस्टेबिलिटी क्रिएट हो जाएगी. देयर इज सो मेनी ब्रेक्स, डबल स्ट्रैंड ब्रेक्स इन द डीएनए दैट द जीनोम इज नॉट स्टेबल, contributes to the cancer development. Therefore, a single mutation in this p53 can lead to different classes of cancers. So contribute to cancer development. Mutations in p53 gene are among the most common genetic alterations in human cancers, illustrating the critical importance of the cell cycle regulation in the life of multicellular organisms. इससे ये भी पता चलता है कि सेल साइकिल रेगुलेशन होना या सेल साइकिल को रेगुलेट करना कितना इम्पोर्टेंट है, क्योंकि अगर सेल साइकिल ही रेगुलेटेड नहीं होगी तो उससे कैंसर के चांसेस हो सकते हैं. ओके, सिंपली वी कैन अंडरस्टैंड इट इन द फॉर्म ऑफ, सपोज यू आर हैविंग ए कार और स्कूटी और अ बाइक, you do not have any type of regulations in your bike and scooty. Okay, so you can suppose what can happen if you do not have brakes, if you do not have accelerator or this clutch or these things, race, etc. Okay, so now okay, so it is given here that if this is a double strand break, it will activate either directly by ATM, or this checkpoint kinase 2 will be able to activate your P53 by phosphorylating it. They are able to stabilize P53, and this P53 is forming a dimer and will bind to your double strand breaks. Forming a dimer and will lead to the transcription of P21 mRNA. This P21 is acting as an inhibitor of CDK2 cyclin E complex during late G1. So the G1 arrest of cell cycle will take place. Now we will move to the M phase of cell cycle, because we are completely out, and certain things which I want to discuss before telling you about M phase of cell cycle. I hope I have discussed everything. If you are having some query, you may ask. I'm giving you 5 minute break so that you can discuss the things which are settled in your mind or which are floating in your mind. Anything. So we have discussed this, we have discussed this. So it's time for queries. You may ask anything. Okay, Trishla, if there is no queries, okay, fine. Then we are moving to our next phase of cell cycle, that is M phase. And before starting M phase, I want to tell you that the complex maturation promoting factor, MPF, which we have formed in G2 phase of cell cycle, is also required during M phase of cell cycle. We will see how. So the common things, M phase is the most dramatic period. I have told you many times that it is the most dramatic period क्योंकि यहाँ पे क्या होता है क्रोमोसोम्स का सेग्रीगेशन होता है बेटा और जैसे ही न्यूक्लियर डिवीजन हो जाता है उसके बाद में हो जाता है साइटोकाइनेसिस यानी कि डॉटर सेल्स बन जाती हैं इन्वॉल्विंग मेजर रीऑर्गेनाइजेशन ऑफ वर्चुअली ऑल सेल कंपोनेंट्स तो बहुत सारे सेल्स के कंपोनेंट्स का रीऑर्गेनाइजेशन होता है अब वी विल सी कि क्या क्या रीऑर्गेनाइजेशन होता है साइटोस्केलेटल का रीऑर्गेनाइजेशन होता है न्यूक्लियर लैमेंट्स इधर-उधर जाते हैं एंड सो ऑन during mitosis, which is called nuclear division, the chromosome condenses. See, when we talk in terms of interphase, or simply I want to tell you that there is two major phases of cell cycle. One is called interphase, involving your G1 as G2, and the second phase is called M phase. M phase is called nuclear division phase or mitosis. तो यहाँ पे क्या होता है क्रोमोसोम्स का कंडेंसेशन एम फेज में होता है एक्चुअली उससे पहले क्या होता है जीवन में जब सेल जीवन में होती है या पूरे टाइम पे होती है तो क्रोमोसोम डीकंडेंस होते हैं एस फेज में उनका रेप्लिकेशन होता है डीएनए का तो अगर हम इंटरफेज में सेल को माइक्रोस्कोप के अंडर देखें ठीक है तो हमें माइक्रोस्कोप में दो ही फेजेस दिखेंगे बेटा जी1 एस जी2 को हम डिफरेंशिएट नहीं कर सकते बिकॉज अंडर सिंपल माइक्रोस्कोप वी आर एबल टू सी इंटरफेज एंड एम फेज ओनली अगर क्रोमोसोम कंडेंस्ड है प्रॉपर क्रोमोसोम दिख रहे हैं इसका मतलब सेल एम फेज में है और अगर क्रोमोसोम नहीं दिख रहे हैं पूरा का पूरा न्यूक्लियस में जो क्रोमेटिन है वो डिस्पर्स्ड स्टेट में है होमोजीनियस स्टेट में है then the cell is under your interface okay so during M phase the chromosome condenses nuclear envelope of most of the cell breaks down तो nuclear envelope break हो जाता है chromosome condense हो जाते हैं chromosome properly बन जाते हैं cytoskeletal reorganizes to form mitotic spindle. Now, before telling you about mitotic spindle, I want to know whether you are knowing the cytoskeletal term or not. So please tell me in the chat box uh, what type of proteins are major proteins which make your cytoskeletal in cell. Waiting for your answer. There is three major classes of filaments or proteins which are able to make the cytoskeleton. Yes, microtubule is one, microfilament is second one, and intermediary filament somewhere in between. Okay, so microtubule, microfilaments, and intermediary filaments. Nice. So these three type of filaments, actually microtubules are having tubulin alpha and tubulin beta. Okay, and this actin filaments are part of your microfilaments. Okay, so you are having actin proteins, tubulin proteins, and all these make the cytoskeletal of the cell. Now, if you are clear with cytoskeleton, so these cytoskeletal proteins are also able to form the spindle microtubules. So these microtubules, or these tubulin alpha and beta, are also forming the spindle microtubules, which are responsible for the segregation of sister chromatids, because the sister chromatid will move towards the opposite poles within your nucleus. Okay, because the nuclear envelope is broken down, or we can simply say in cell. Sister chromatids then separate from each other, move to opposite poles of the spindle, and these poles are formed by centrioles from your 12th class. Okay, so followed by formation of daughter nuclei. जैसे कि daughter nuclei बनेंगी, पहले nuclear division होगा, karyokinesis, followed by cytokinesis. You can refer 11th or 12th NCERT book to better understand these steps of mitosis. Actually, you are also able to discriminate mitosis from meiosis, where this nuclear division is taking place, and diploid to haploid formation is also taking place during meiosis. ठीक है, गैमेट फॉर्मेशन जैसे होते हैं. तो एक बार प्लीज 11th-12th की जो एनसीईआरटी की बायोलॉजी की बुक है बेटा, वो पढ़ लेना, उससे आपको ये क्लियर हो जाएंगे. ओके, सो प्रोफेज, मेटाफेज, एनाफेज, टेलोफेज, एवरीथिंग इज गिवन. So actually these all things you have studied in your previous classes during your 11th, 12th, BSc. I hope there should be no queries related to this particular portion. If you are having any, you may ask, or you may read by yourself. I'm leaving it up to you. I'm considering that you will read it from the 11th, 12th NCERT. Okay. So now we are going to regulation portion. Okay, how this particular phase or M phase is having is regulated. So we have seen this. This is MPF, maturation promoting factor, or MPF, is made up of cyclin B, that is a regulatory subunit, and CDK1, which is a catalytic subunit. Okay, so it is having certain effects over cell cycle. Okay, it is its function is not over after G2. It is also having certain functions during M phase of cell cycle, or initiation of this M phase of cell cycle. So CDK1 and cyclin B's complex induces multiple nuclear and cytoplasmic changes on the onset of M phase, both by activating other protein kinases or phosphorylating proteins such as condensins, components of nuclear envelope. Do you know what are the components of nuclear envelope? These are called lamin proteins. Have you seen a football? From interior, it is having a bladder. So actually, these lamin proteins are forming the bladder of your nucleus. Okay. So from this diagram, you are more clear. So if you are not getting the nucleus, so this is your nuclear membrane. This is your nucleus, not your cell. So only nucleus portion of your cell. It is having certain proteins. So in between, these are nuclear pore complexes, NPCs, through which your transfer of certain molecules or protein is going to take place. Nuclear lamina. So this is formed of lamin proteins or lamin filaments. So here, this particular MPF complex that is made up of CDK1 and cyclin B is having some role, because this nuclear lamina is similar to a bladder of a football. Suppose your nucleus as a football and your nuclear lamina is as a bladder in which you will fill the air actually. Okay. So it will give an internal support to your nucleus so that the structure of nucleus will not collapse. Now, what is the function of this particular MPF complex? This particular lamin proteins are interacting very closely with each other. This particular CDK cyclin B1, cyclin B complex called MPF is phosphorylating these subunits or lamin dimers so that they are having less affinity for each other, and thus your nuclear membrane will be disintegrated, so that the chromosomes will be condensed and nuclear membrane will be disintegrated. So here this is having certain regulatory rules. Okay, got it, or need to tell it again? Now we are coming back. So it is having certain rules, both activating the other protein kinases and phosphorylating proteins such as condensins and components of nuclear envelope, for example, laminin proteins, Golgi matrix proteins, and proteins associated with centrosomes and microtubules, because these centrosomes and microtubules are required for spindle formation, okay, and pole formation actually. So these are having regulation over all these proteins. See how. So this particular MPF complex is having chromatin condensation. Chromatin condensation, so the phosphorylation of condensins. Uh, if they phosphorylate the condensins, condensin will come closer, and thus chromatin will undergoing condensation reaction, and your chromosomes are visible then. Nuclear annular breakdown. Phosphorylation of lamins, nuclear pore complexes, and inner nuclear proteins lead to their disintegration, and this bladder is completely disintegrated, lead to the nuclear envelope breakdown. Third regulation is this particular MPF complex is also fragmentation of Golgi apparatus. So the Golgi apparatus is no more visible, because you know the function of Golgi is to glycosylate, means in protein translation, the post-translational modification is happening in Golgi and endoplasmic reticulum. So this Golgi is also having certain functions. It is post office of the cell. It is segregating the proteins so that they can move to their respective destinations. So during M phase, because now we need to make two daughter cells, need to divide the chromosomes. So the Golgi apparatus is not required. We need not move the proteins to their respective locations. So the post office is disintegrated. So phosphorylation of Golgi matrix protein lead to the fragmentation of Golgi apparatus. Spindle formation. This is very important. Again, phosphorylation of centrosomes and microtubule associated protein lead to the formation of spindle apparatus, and the spindle apparatus is more visible from the previous diagram. Okay, so see here, this particular nucleus is disintegrated, nuclear envelope is disintegrated, and this is called spindle apparatus formation. Means there is two poles of microtubules and centrosomes, and the microtubules are forming spindle apparatus. They will attach to the chromosome kinetochores. The two sister chromatids will move towards the, or these particular chromosomes will move towards the opposite poles, so that the daughter nuclei and finally the daughter cells will be formed, M phase. Now, this mitosis involves the dramatic changes in multiple cellular components, leading to the major reorganization of entire structure of the cell. Okay, so it requiring a complex which is called as MPF, cyclin B CDK1 complex, not only act as a master regulator of M phase transition, phosphorylating and activating downstream protein kinases, but also act directly by phosphorylating some of the structural proteins involved in the cellular reorganization. So actually, these are centrosomes, and the sister chromatids are having some during G2. These sister chromatids are having some two type of protein. One is called cohescence between these, and they're having condensins. Okay, so when the cell move from G2 to prophase to metaphase, actually these these two type of proteins. One is called condensins. Okay, so these condensins will be phosphorylated so that these chromosomes are more complex, they are more compact, and actually the cohesin proteins which are between two, they will move towards the center of this particular chromosomes, enabling to the formation of proper chromosomes from this type of structures which are present during G2. So actually during metaphase, you will see the proper chromosomes. Okay, so something like this is formed. Cohesins bind to the DNA during S phase, maintain the linkage between sister chromatids, followed by DNA replication in G2 and S phase. As the cell enter into the M phase, the cohesins are replaced by the condensins among most of the chromosomes. So when cell is moving to M phase, so you will see these cohesion proteins are means these are less, or they will move towards the center of the chromosome, and they are replaced by condensins, because the proteins are required for the condensation of chromosomes to make these compact structures. Okay, so cohesins are replaced by condensins along most of the chromosome, remaining only at the centromere. Centromere is the position where this chromosome is having some type of linkage. Centromere, central part of the chromosome. Phosphorylation by CDK1 activates the condensins. When the CDK1 is activated, it will lead to the phosphorylation of condensins. These condensin protein are phosphorylated, which drive the chromatin condensation. So once they're phosphorylated, it will lead to the condensation of chromatin or formation of compact chromosomes. Okay, so actually we are running out of time. It is already 9:30, and we will continue tomorrow from here only.